All right, so I'm going to try a walking and talking video. I'm on the Bismarck State College campus, and I don't know, I'm so self-conscious sometimes, so I'm trying it where a bunch of people I'll probably never see again in the city, right? So you look around the campus. Actually, I feel like I don't know what this is. I may have to take a swing around the campus because I've never been on this campus before, although I think I've been in that building. So apparently I've been here and didn't realize it. And that is our state capitol, which apparently is visible from here. Kind of sticks up. At one time, it was the skyscraper on the prairie. So I was thinking a little bit about inspiration, actually. And kind of came to me, I should do a video on it. Last night, I was walking in a stairwell of all things, and I hate this. There's people all over the place driving by and they're looking at me. But anyways, in the stairwell of all things, I thought, I could set a scene for a movie here. Well, so I started thinking about where does inspiration actually come from? So I came up with a few ideas. Ooh, that's interesting. So I noticed these cones here, sorry, digression. Cones here, and then I don't know if you can tell, it's very hollow underneath that. No, it's not lit well right to tell. Very hollow underneath. So I think I'm going to walk over to the side. So anyway, so I was thinking about inspiration, where does it come from? And for me, I need to be doing something reasonably mindless, like walking, digging in my garden, not planting the garden, but digging it, weeding, riding bicycle. I can get some inspiration driving the car, but actually driving the car is pretty good. And then I'm like, whoa, what just happened? So careful of that. That's almost as bad as a cell phone for me, because I don't own a cell phone, but my mind wanders, so yeah. Anyway, so I need to be doing something. But the other thing is, you need that stillness so your brain actually can work. Your brain needs to be by itself. If you're just, I'm walking really fast. I'm trying to not run, but get to lunch and back in the time I have. Anyway, you want to give your brain that downtime. If you're sitting in the house running YouTube and radio, especially if it's voice type radio or TV, you don't have that silence really for your brain to start working. So processing time. So I definitely spent too much indoors time this winter. Very cold winter. But anyway, you need downtime to process. Your brain does naturally make connections. That's how memory works. But then you need input. You do the same thing all the time, go to the same places, see the same people. What are you inputting? So city grocery stores are kind of fun. I had lunch at Dan's behind me. Sort of throwback to the 80s inside, but anyway, had a salad bar, had a soup bar, so I had a salad and some soup. It's pretty good. I can see how even doing that you could pack on the pounds because it's easy to eat that stuff unhealthy, but it was fun and exotic. Now I'm headed back to class. I got a couple other things to say about inspiration here. I'm probably in focus. One of the things that always gets me about the city is how much traffic there is. Like, I would be across the road right now back home, but there's so many cars coming, I just decided to walk down this side of the street for a while because just too hard to cross it. But I want to get a cup of coffee. There's a city brew coffee, and it's exciting going into a coffee shop to get coffee, so doggone it, I'm here in the city, I'm going to do it. Even though all I drink is plain black coffee, still, I'm buying coffee in the city. I unhooked my microphone, but hopefully you can hear me. That's where I'm going. Oh, Yeah, it's all backwards. So I got my coffee. But anyway, so I was thinking about creativity, and you know, you got to have lots of inputs. You know, read, travel, meet new people, get outside your comfort zone. Hi. Okay, that was awkward. They actually knew I was filming for YouTube. I just remembered I've got the 2 cones down here. I want to stay on the outside of the sidewalk with the hollow spot. But anyway, so getting back to, and they just saw me again. Parents where I live wouldn't want their kids driving in Bismarck. Here in Bismarck, parents don't think anything of it. But they did know I was doing YouTube. But anyway, so what I would do, you get these inspirations. The big thing is to write them down. You're gonna forget. Might be able to tell I'm not breathing as hard as I was on the way to the grocery store. I fell a couple weeks ago and landed on my foot. It's healed up pretty much, but I'm starting to feel it right now, so I'm going slower. But anyway, that whole note-taking thing, you know, don't make a big deal out of it. I know I'm doing a series of videos on note-taking. The main thing is to write it down, because it's going to be gone. Oh, it's just Wasky Squirrel.
Wasky Squirrel?
Yep.
Okay, how do you spell it?
W-A-S-K-I. So anyway, they're going to be, the high school kids just came by again. They're going to be really disappointed when they find this channel, find out how boring it is. Yeah, I fell and it's hurting again. So, darn it. I still look like I'm in high school, but there are moments I don't feel like it. This is one of them. But write it down, no matter how incomplete it is. You can flesh out the details later. If you have enough written down, you can see it. And then you can, you know, it's there because you are going to forget it. I mean, that's what people do. That's how our memory works. And it will actually add further inspiration. I have a notebook I actually put stuff down in as it comes to me. Another thing is, don't be self-conscious about your ideas. You know, I'm self-conscious about walking around talking to a camcorder, especially now that I have an audience. But, you know, nobody's gonna see it. It's in a notebook. Write it down. If it's terrible, then throw it away. So this is the church in Huff. I'm not sure if it's still open. Try not to get the sun silhouette. And that's a pretty good sign to me that it's probably Catholic. But I don't know. So not much left of the town of Huff. But it's pretty, a beautiful setting. And I think the best part's right there. For 10 years I lived on the shores of the Susquehanna River in a town called Halifax, Pennsylvania. And it's something I do miss. This is the this is the Missouri River. This part is Lake Oahe. And if you heard about the protests, not here, further down the river, is where the pipeline, this is the river that the pipeline crosses. So since I am in Huff, I'll just mention on my idea thing, don't be afraid of stupid ideas. Write them down. They don't have to ever amount to anything. You might be able to make something out of it later. There's a guy, I didn't really show you his house, but there's a guy sitting on his porch just staring at me. I waved at him, and he waved back, and he's just staring at me. I don't know if he thinks I'm going to break into the church or what, but you know, I just like Huff. I thought I'd show it to you. And yeah, I was feeling awkward talking to the camera. But anyway, the main thing is, write down your ideas. No matter how silly you are, you might be able to make something out of them later. And, you know, in an idea notebook, you don't worry so much about order and organization. You get it down. You can flesh it out later. If you never make anything of it, you never make anything of it. The thing is, if you start self-censoring, that becomes an automatic habit, and you'll end up shutting out some really clever ideas in the end. And that's not what the whole process is for inspiration. You want to get inspired, you got to be constantly coming up with ideas. You know, I'll show you briefly the staircase here. I'll try and splice it in right here that I mentioned that got me thinking about doing this series of videos. Well, okay, one kind of strange thing I always find myself doing is thinking in terms of sets for movies. So my books were set, you know, in a movie. And I don't know why. I'm staying at the Kelly Inn tonight in Bismarck, but this little nook just struck me as a scene for a movie, so I'll turn around up here and show you why. You know, it's kind of retro, but I just picture that as a scene. You know, you could do something there. Don't know what. That's the creativity part. Got a balcony here overlooking, I don't really know what. But anyway, just sort of retro and kind of cool. You know, what a stupid staircase, but what if I can use it? If you ever seen Blake 7, I don't remember the exact episode, but there's an episode where they're trying to get some revolutionary leader to a conference. And they get to the conference center and they take her through, and it's obviously, because the show was filmed in the late 1970s, early 80s, it's obviously a semi-ritzy looking hotel or convention center from that era, but it somehow works. So I'm going to drive on a bit. I don't know where else I'll stop, but I've got a few more thoughts on inspiration yet. Just so you can be insanely jealous, I've stopped here in Lemon, South Dakota, and let me show you why, and then I'll finish up my thought about self-censorship. So, Lemon, South Dakota isn't real big. I mean, that's Main Street. I know you're not supposed to zoom when you're filming, but I just did. So, Main Street. But do you notice these rocks closer by? So Lemon, South Dakota is actually known for its Petrified wood park. So when we're talking inspiration, you may think you've got a silly idea. Is your idea really any sillier than this? I mean, a whole park devoted to petrified wood? Kind of don't think so. So, and look how cool it is. I mean, I'm sure the people from Lemon are just like, it's a park, I don't care. But to me, it's really cool. I'm just thinking what fun it would be to be a kid and wander around this. I mean, it's not an all-day thing, and like I said, I'm sure it gets old when you're there. Let's see, you can't read it, but there's a sign in there that says dinosaur bones. But yeah, they've got this cool little cavern here. I can't go in it. Feels like cool air coming out of it though. That's kind of wild. I hear children screaming. They're not here, they're over at the park. But anyway, so I guess what I'm saying is when you don't want to self-censor. Move the microphone up a little. You know, I spilled coffee down the front of my shirt. I didn't know that. I just noticed it, and I wonder how long it's been there. So you don't want to self-censor your ideas. You know, what's the harm? Write it down. Something may come of it, something may not. When you get in the habit of self-censorship, you shoot yourself down before you even get started. You know, I have a family member. As soon as you come up with an idea and mention it to her, it's a close family member, she immediately will shoot it down. You know, everything that's wrong with it, why it won't work. I think these are dinosaur claws. I don't know. Maybe? Did they have a dinosaur come over here and claw at this? Maybe after Jurassic Park was filmed, a dinosaur came to Lemon, South Dakota. But anyway, she'll shoot down any idea. You know, I say, I've got an idea for a novel I want to try. And then she'll tell you what's wrong with it, you know, or why it won't work. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Well, I haven't actually told her about this. About fountain pens. You know, she'll tell you exactly what's wrong with it. And No, I hate that. It's so, what a way to live, really. So anyway, so watch out for the self-censorship. It is, it's a way to shut yourself down. And it's an excuse never to try anything or do anything. Because what if you fail? Oh my goodness gracious. And yeah, so that's my little video on inspiration. I look for it wherever it is. You know, right now I'm visiting this and I'm thinking, what could I do with this in a novel? Because that's often what I'm thinking about is novels. I'm not always thinking about novels, but teaching is another thing I think of. You know, what would be a cool lab to try? What would be a different way to present something? Things like that. And oh, nifty, nice arch. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but that's some kind of like a rose quartz. Maybe. It's pretty. So this is actually kind of cool. Now, I can't really tell what's on the screen because there's a glare on it, but interesting. And then that, I'm going to guess, is a museum or an office. I've actually never been in Lemon when it's open. Imagine that. But, you know, rather than censor yourself, you know, what's the worst? If it's a dumb idea, don't do anything with it. Got a duck here. So, that's my little message on inspiration. I don't know if it was worth it. You sitting through all this, but at least you got to see this park, which I think is cool. Maybe it's a house. I'll be embarrassed if I'm filming the side of somebody's house, but I'm pretty sure it's not. It's the lighting is nice right now, though. Maybe I should walk back with my camera after I get done with this. So yeah, here we are. This is like a main office. Oh, a museum. I just saw a sign. So here, a little bit of history. Talks about the Yellowstone Trail, actually. You'll see Yellowstone Trail signs around. They're yellow. It's an old road. So this museum is open through Labor Day, starting in June. I guess I never come to Lemon in the summer. Maybe that's why I've never been here when it's open. And this, I don't know what it is. Must be another building. Oh, museum is what I was looking at. This must be the gift shop and displays. I don't know. Maybe that's the gift shop. So, kind of a cool place. Don't know what it's probably all closed for the winter, but it'll open. It's like Lemon's claim to fame. Main Street, which you're watching I'm doing a driving video also, so I'm going to actually drive down Main Street in a little bit. So anyway, to sum it all up, you need input to have creativity. So you need to get things into your brain. You need to have the freedom to free associate. So I like to do things like this, just walk or do fairly mindless physical work, something to give my mind a chance to drift. Driving works actually, but not always. And you know, get rid of the distractions when you're trying to think. You know, turn off the TV, turn off the radio. Maybe light music helps you think, but overall, you know, turn it off so that you can think. What else could I throw in here? Shit. Did I even turn this on? Oh, it is on. Well, I just swore. Yeah, YouTubers, I swore. But anyway, so you want to be able to free associate and then write it down. You're going to forget these creative ideas. You know, it doesn't have to be a fancy notebook, but write it down. And no matter how silly, you know, don't self-censor. Write the darn idea down and Maybe you can flesh it out later. You know, if it's an incomplete idea, oh well. Just have ideas and start. And then you can do something with them later or not. You know, you don't have to be too organized with an idea notebook. Just have a notebook. So those are some ideas on inspiration. I'd be curious to hear, I'm sorry, I'm trying to open my car door and it's not working. I'd be curious to hear your ideas. So leave some ideas about finding inspiration in the comments. And it doesn't have to be about books. It could be teaching. Maybe you're a farmer. You've got some farming ideas. Maybe you own a restaurant, recipe ideas. Maybe you're an artist. You know, I don't care what you are. Just have some ideas and tell me how you get your inspiration, because I think we could all benefit. So I thank you for watching. Now, I've never been recognized doing these videos, but now 2 people in Bismarck, high school kids, know that this channel exists. So anyway, I thank you for watching, and we'll have to try this again sometime. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.